by Professor Rajiv Mal. And yeah, let me start recording so that, already started. Okay, yeah, somebody started. Okay, fine, good. Okay, yeah. Um yeah, already Professor Mal has started this course, and as you know that this is COAs, Computer Architecture and Operating Systems. So from the title itself, you can see that the course consists of two broader components, or you can say that areas of computer science. So one is the computer architecture, and the other one is the operating system, right? And so this course will be handled by both of us, me and Professor Mal. So Professor Mal will take care about, or will teach the this one computer architecture part of the course, and so myself will handle the other one, like operating system part of the course. Okay, so and yeah, as you know that actually these two courses are actually they are a bit of in the case of normal computer science branch, actually these two are the full-fledged courses supported by their labs, specific labs also. So so that way you can able to understand that the content of this course is a bit heavy, and since this course is mainly meant for the other disciplines students who want to do minor in computer science, so to get a feel for the overview of the architecture or hardware part of the computer, and the management of that hardware by operating system, in that perspective this course was designed, right? So so therefore, so like the content is a bit heavy, because since it is merged of two different two like self subjects of its own content and all. Okay, so that's about the subject. It's a bit voluminous, but it's not coming to the OS part, the operating systems component of the course and all. So it is like a bit of the intuitive one, where most of the ideas and the ones that we're going to discuss will be like very close to our reality or real life. Most of the times, how do we manage the different problems when you come across? Similar to that in a computer system also, we can able to see that most of them appears to be like, yeah, we get it, yeah, we'll intuitively will feel that the solutions are the other aspects what we discuss in these operating systems and all, right? So and yeah, and yeah, by the way, my name is K. Srinivas Rao. Computer faculty in computer science department. Okay, I already taught this course three times. This is the fourth time. Anyway, out of these three times, the last one is not proper, where um, because it's half the way, because of this COVID and all, it was not went off well. But it's okay. Hope that this time the course will be taught in a full-fledged way, right? And yeah, and then coming to the evaluation part, since it is the online course, so this course will be evaluated continuously. And it's a 4 hours, 4 credit course, so 4 hours, 4 lecture hours. Out of these 2 lecture hours, that is Tuesday, will be this will be like this Tuesday, the 2 hours, 10 to 12 class will be. What happened? Is the recording going on now? Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the participants, so please don't change any settings and all. So you please try to listen to the course. Other than that, you don't do any other changes in that. Hmm? And the other thing is that you please mute all of you when I'm talking. And if there is any specific thing, then you can speak out. Otherwise, or you can raise hand so that it is observable, and then I can give a chance to like you can able to speak. Otherwise, it will be disturbance to the entire class and all. Okay. Yeah, right. And yeah, another thing is I want to mention as I just before the class I just checked the ERP. So in the role list, in my role list, there are about 195 students were present in the role list in ERP, right? And there is another list where some students that means those who are though for them this course is not a core course or a standard elective course for them. So in that case, actually, they cannot directly register to the course. So they need to take approval from the course instructor, and then upon the approval, and their name will be present in the roll list. So that way, when I check the roll list, there are about 195 students were present in the roll list. And when I check the list of the students who requested for approval of this course, there are about again there are about 160 students were there. So then in that 160 anyway, for second years and all, I just already mentioned, I sent an email also saying that not to attend the course because they don't have a prerequisite for this course, digital circuits and systems or digital electronics or circuits, so which they don't have. So therefore, I asked them to wait for next year because since the course strength is already huge, so it's difficult to manage. And so for second years, if you remove, there are still around 150 students. They requested for approval, and we approved most of them. And but their names, when I just checked the approval list versus the roll list, there are still about 40 names that were not present in the roll list, which we have already approved. So those students, so please check with your faculty advisor and try to see that their name should present in the roll list soon. So that is one thing I just want to mention. Okay. So what I mean to say is that actually those who have requested for approval, so most of the requests were approved, but all their names were not present in the roll list. So there is still about 40 to 50 students whose names were not present in the roll list, but we have given the approval. Anyway, it's up to them finally whether they want to take the course or not, but I just want to mention that. And another thing is that, yes, I mentioned like the course is it's yeah, as I mentioned, since it is the online course and also it's not, you cannot take the exams, the lengthy exams or the exams of descriptive type. Excuse me. Hello. No, yeah, please call me later. I'm in a meeting right now. Okay, thank you. Bye. Yeah. So, so yeah, it's the content. Yeah, because since it is online course, so we cannot take the like we cannot evaluate the course like the way in a conventional way of taking this one, the mid-sem, end-sem, and so on. But it's a continuous evaluation, and that might be already Professor Mal has mentioned already. So it's like every week you have to have an exam, and that is a small test. It's about 15 to 20 minutes test and a small test, and and the way of the questions also will be like small questions, like the question expects like one or two, like 2 3 points maximum, or the multiple choice or true or false, or some numerical problem, simple ones. So at most what I mean to say is that at the end of like for every class, at the end of the class, since ours is the 2 hours lecture, so therefore mostly at 11:30 we used to have a test, and it will complete in 11:45 or 11:50 and so on. So for that way, we used to have almost like every week we used to have a class test, and in that class test, whatever is covered in the last 2 lectures in this lecture and all, so that will be expected to be evaluated and all. So like, and another thing is that since it is online course, and you may have some problems, maybe link problems somewhere here and there, power problems and all. For taking care of that one, so we used to take the multiple tests, because every week we are taking a test, means as per the number of weeks, and you will get the number of tests, many tests will be there. Out of that, we'll pick up maybe, yeah, as we decided, around 75% of the tests will be considered. It means that the best of 75. Suppose we have, for example, we have 20 tests for conducted issue, and in that 20 tests, So best 15 tests will be considered for your grading purpose. So that way, like the other 2 3 tests, whatever is there, that those tests and all. So those whoever you may not prepared, you may not well, or your connection is not proper. So all those things will be taken care through that. So that way, like every week we used to have a test, and in our class, because since we have only one day, it's a 2 hour lecture. So therefore, mostly at 11:30 we'll schedule this class test, and as I mentioned, the class test will be a small test, kind of a quiz, and yeah, quiz means it's not just pure multiple choice and all. Sometimes it may be multiple, sometimes may have short answers like conceptual, and sometimes a small numerical. So that is the way it used to be. Yeah, that is about the evaluation part and all. And coming to the course content, the entire course for this operating systems, mostly I used to follow the standard textbook, and it's this is the one, like yeah, operating system concepts by so Silver Squares, Galvin, and also this is yeah, you can see this book, and yeah, all of you are familiar and all. And this is the standard book, and most of the topics, like almost like you can say 90 95% of the topics will be covered from this book. And even the slides, whatever I'm using, is also the standard slides, which is given by the book itself. So mostly, yeah, and I'll make it available, the slides, and as well anyway, the video lectures are already recording is going on. So therefore, soon after the class, the video lectures also will be available for you, and you can, at your convenient time, you can download and you can make use of it. Okay, so this is about the course, and along with this textbook, you can also maybe 1 or 2 lectures. Maybe I may refer the other textbook, one more textbook. It's on operating systems by Tannenbaum. Is there, and in that maybe for a specific topic, maybe threads and all. At that time, maybe I may use that book. And if I use that book, even that content also, I have that whatever the like from that book, whichever the part I'm covering. So even that also, I will just make it a soft copy. I will make it available for you. And even this book is also soft copy is available on the net. So and you can have it, or better to have a textbook hard copy so that you can use that. So that's all about the course content and the textbook part and evaluation part. And so without delay, so let's start the class. And so let me, where is that? I need to present. Mm, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay,
Sir,
so yeah.
sir, could you please make all of us attendees, like some of us are removing others from.
No, I'm not getting. What are you saying? Yeah, can you please repeat?
Sir, can you make all of us make attendees here because like people are removing.
Okay, yeah, let me see. Actually, yeah, because I have not even this session, whatever is there. So it was created by Professor Mal. Actually, that's the reason. So all of us need to make them to be attendees, no? Yeah, even yeah, the problem is that actually even me don't allow attendees to unmute. Yeah, maybe from the next meeting onwards, we may create a separate. Because what happened was actually here, even this session was created by Professor Mal. So even me itself, I'm the presenter. So, so what I need to do actually, I need to make all our attendees. No, like now it's like all of them are present, right? Mm, how do I make it? I allow attendees to unmute. Okay, so Let me see here, meeting details, meeting notes, options style, and I turn off the incoming video. No, I don't have here any. Yeah, I'm not sure actually.
I think you can do it from team details instead of meeting details.
Team details. Yeah, where do I get that actually from here? Meeting details, team details. Where do I get the team details? I have to go
outside
not
the
from
meeting.
this. No? Huh?
Outside the meeting.
Outside the
Go-
meeting. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, this here and then the team details. So where do I have these one team details? Right now I'm outside. And settings, general permissions. No. Location media. Um, yeah, I'm not getting actually. Where can you help here? COS posts. Yeah, team is there here. Fine. In the team, but I'm not. No, I'm not able to see where. How do you get that actually? Here there is. Yeah, only meeting organizers make the changes and also. Then what I will do is that the next time maybe. So the next time
Actually,
what
the
I will.
number of presenters are already converted into attendees. Someone is doing it.
I don't know how to let them. Yeah, then yeah, right now it has been calmed down. The presenters are 61. So what I suggest is that I request the others, all others, to make it to convert to the attendees. Let me see. Yeah, please do that, and so that you don't disturb the other participants and all. Okay. So what is happening now? So can you able to see the slide here? Hello?
Not now, sir. Previously it was visible.
Previously, no, like let me start. Let me present the slide. Okay. Yeah, right. Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So let me put it in full screen mode. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is full screen mode. Okay. So can you see, no? Like all of you can see the slide, right? Right? Is it fine? Hello?
Yes, sir, it is fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, right. Yeah, if you have any difficulties, so please let me know. We'll figure it out. And yeah, let's start the class lecture. And yeah, so here, yeah, in this class, yeah, in this course, actually, we'll try to see that in the first 1 or 2 weeks. Like this week, anyway, week means we have 2 lectures. Only one class with 2 lectures. So mostly in 2 or 3 classes in 2 3 weeks. This week, mostly next week, we'll try to give you the overview of the operating system in different perspectives. And yeah, basically like what is the operating system and how it manages the like the from user viewpoint and from the computer with the hardware perspective, how it manages, and for doing these activities and all, so what are the various components in the operating system and how do we design the operating system, for example, for taking care of these things. So what is the structure of operating system, and so some basic things about operating system, how it function during the program execution or during running the application programs and other things and all. So basically these 1 or 2 weeks actually will try to give you the overview of a bit of the gross level of understanding about the role of operating system. And we just mentioned about the overall operating system functionalities can be viewed as the different components or different, you can say that different components of operating system. And yeah, and then basically for designing that, how the operating system can be viewed, can be designed. And also these are the some broader level of aspects of operating system, the introductory thing. So that we'll try to discuss in these two classes and all. And later on, actually, we'll go through the details of the individual components of operating system and all. Like, for example, from the view of execution of programs and all. So what are the responsibilities of operating system? So those things we'll try to discuss more detailed way as later on as we go on. And as the course is a bit wider, and another thing is that since we have a limitation of the number of contact hours also, so with that we may not cover the whole part of operating system, and we'll try to see that we'll try to cover at most the important components of operating system to deal with the program execution, like in view of executing the programs and all, like so in that context, what is the role of operating system? What are the different services offered by operating system? So that way we'll deal with that. And another important thing is that the memory point of view, because if you see that the memory is the central part where all the other hardware entities will try to interact with the memory for accessing the data. So that way, in view of that, managing the memory also. So what was the role of operating system, how it will do, and so those things we'll try to discuss. Mostly we may cover that part to that extent possible. So one thing is that regarding the program execution or application program, so there's not to be process management. We'll see that bit. And the other one is the memory management. So these are the two things we may cover based on the time availability. There are other things were there. In addition to that, the responsibilities of operating system or functionalities of operating system deal with the IO management, that means input output device management and all, storage management, protection and security, virtual memory. So those things are there, so that we may not have much time to cover those things. So that is about the broader content of the things that will cover in this course and all. And yeah, this is the broader we can say that the contents of this particular chapter. In the introduction, there are 2 chapters were devoted for that. And in the first chapter, so these are the various contents we'll try to cover. So as I mentioned, what is the operating system and what it will do. And as I mentioned that this operating system, one way if you look at that in a computer, and most of you are familiar because people are using the computers, not only computers, even other gadgets like mobile phones and other things. So you can able to see that like basically if you assume that computer itself, it has certain hardware, right? So it means that it has a central processing unit, or you can say a processor, and you have a memory unit, and you have a keyboard, printer, and you have a network adapters, cards, and so many other hardware entities were there. And then the user of the ultimate users of the computers are the human beings, users for carrying out various applications. It may be like interactive applications, scientific applications, whatever. So the end goal is that the users has to use the computer, and the things that will be actually performed will be the hardware, by using a hardware. And here the role of operating system will be, it is in between. The operating system will try to will act like the intermediate, or the intermediate between the end users versus the actual hardware and all the basic hardware. So it provides you so therefore, since it is in between these two, so therefore it means that it will do certain things from the aspect of hardware, and it will do certain things from the aspect of the users also, because it's there in between. So therefore it has to satisfy the users requests and the users programs needs and other things. And at the same time, it used to be there because the ultimately the all the applications, whatever, it will be carried out by the hardware. So therefore it has to deal with the hardware also. So therefore, if you look at the contents of this course, this particular chapter, so we'll deal with the computer system organization, architecture, and so on. So all these things are very much required, because the operating system manages the hardware and all. Because if you have only hardware is there, for example, you have a CPU, memory, and other things, right? You assume that you don't have any operating system, right? So you have only the basic entities who are there. And then if you try to use the system, if you try to use the hardware for running your programs or whatever the application and all, it is very hard. It is very difficult. I'm not saying that you cannot do that, but you can do that, but it's very complex, because the basic hardware or the CPU or a memory and all those things, they understand only the electrical signals, the electrical on-off signals, right? And the human, if you want to do some application and all, so somehow whatever the program, whatever you want to do it, you need to transform that into those electrical pulses, electrical variations and all. So doing that is very hard directly. So for that, you can able to see at least at some level of easier thing. Suppose you have a microprocessor where you can able to write a program using assembly code, using an assembly code. It means that you have some fixed instructions will be there, and use those instructions, you can able to write the program and all. And that even that assembly program also, there will be again that assembly program has to convert into the machine understandable code. So the machine understandable code means it's a form of binary, ones and zeros and all. So that kind of form of instructions are known to be the machine language and all, and only those instructions will be interpreted by the hardware. So, but as a user, it is very difficult to write the code or write the applications using the machine level instructions or machine level like a code, machine language and all. It's very hard. It's very hard to interpret the ideas for solving a problem in the form of machine language is very hard. So that's the reason that actually, so therefore, there should be some other entity that should be there in between the user applications to the computer and all. So that role will be taken care by at very gross level, will be taken care by the operating system and all. Otherwise, you try to see that those whoever has a familiarity with the microprocessors and other things and all, you know that you can able to do only some simple programs you can able to write, you can able to execute some simple programs, that also with difficulty. So for that, you should be aware of the entire the instruction set of the assembly language, and then you have to code into that. And afterwards, there will be some other piece of code will be there, known to be assembler. It used to convert that assembly language instructions to the machine instructions. It's nothing but ones and zeros. It used to translate that. Then that ones and zeros, whatever is there, so that will be understood by the computer or by the hardware. So in that context, actually, if we see that, so therefore there is a need to know about the computer system organization. That means that what are the different entities that are present in a computer? What are the different hardware elements or components that are present in the system? And then because all those entities, all those components will be used during our when the user program is running. Because suppose we are running a program, for example, you may require to print certain file, or print certain document, or you need to display certain thing on your monitor, or you need to feed something, some input from the keyboard, or you need to take the input from some USB drive. So likewise, all these are the various entities are there. So therefore, to make it convenient to use for your application programs and all, so the operating system should deal with the hardware as well as your programs also, right? So that is the reason that here we'll briefly discuss about the computer system organization architecture, basically at a very block level, at a very broader level. What are the various entities that were there and how the communication takes place between those entities and how the operating system will provide the communication. So those things we'll try to discuss at a very gross level. And then what is the operating system structure and all. So how the operating system will be, because it has to perform so many activities and all. So for that, what are the basic components in that operations? And then these are the various things where the operating system will deal with that, like the process management, memory management, storage management and all. Because process management is mainly deal with the programs, execution of programs and all, execution of the user programs from the from the upper layer, from the upper side. Like memory management, that also I just mentioned that since whatever you want to do, you have only one memory, main memory will be there, and all the entities in a system or try to interact with that main memory to access the data, to access the data from the main memory. So that way, so managing that main memory in view of storing those programs, accessing them and all. So therefore, the memory management is one of the key functionality of an operating system. Then the storage management. Storage management means is basically deal with because the memory is nothing but all the units can able to interact with the memory. That means CPU can able to interact with the memory, and the main memory, whatever is there that we'll discuss, that is not sufficient to hold all the programs and all. Sometimes a program is of very big size. It may not the main memory may not be sufficient to hold that. So in that case, there will be like at the next level, there will be another storage entities will be there, not to be hard disks or whatever. So those things again in the disks, how to manage the disks and all. Because finally, suppose when the user want to execute some program, so when he tries to access the memory, if it is not there in the memory, then it has to be there in the storage. It has to be there in the secondary memory. So then he has to access the secondary memory. From that, he has to get the data from that. It has to push into main memory. Then you have to use that. So therefore, the functionality of a computer will in turn depends upon the hard disk also, like the characteristics of hard disk. What is the speed of the hard disk? Like how fast you can able to access the data from hard disk. So all these things also will be there. So in that context, the storage management is the part of the operating system. That is mainly with the disks like hard disk. Then the protection and security, like there are hardware devices, there are user programs for there and all, and so how to ensure the protection of one program with in view of other programs. Sometimes the user programs may want to write or want to like want to do something with the kernel or with the operating system also. So therefore, so to ensure the protection of the operating system by itself and other user programs, and at the same time to ensure the security also. So for that, what is the role of operating system? So these are the different components, you can say gross level components like process management, memory management, storage management, and this one. And then coming to the other ones, actually, right now, actually, when you see long back, maybe 15 years or 20 years back, when you say a computer means it's a computer, it's a mostly it's a standalone computer. That means we have a computer where we have only one general purpose processor will be there, and the users will use that computer for their particular task, for their personal task or for some other things. But now the environments have changed. Now the computers, the environment has changed. So it means that now we have distributed systems. It means that it's not that we are using the computer in a standalone manner. You have a system for carrying out your applications. Most of the times you used to interact with the other systems that were not physically present at your system and all. It will be somewhere outside. You need to contact with that. You need to get some communication out of that. So it's basically the distributed systems and all. It's not, that means now most of the tasks is not dealt with a single computer. It will be like interaction between the multiple computers and all. Like you can say the internet or web-based applications, all these are the examples of that distributed systems. And there are some special purpose systems and all, like you can have, for example, you have a computers for in a machines. For example, like take in our home appliances and all, where in several places you might have experience. You have some kind of a computing, some kind of the processor will be there in your home appliances. For example, your washing machine, for example, or otherwise your microwave device. So likewise are some other things. So likewise you have a lot of other systems, other machines, automatic systems and all, where you use the processing and all, computing processing and all. So there also you have some processor is involved, and there also to manage the entities there also you need to have some kind of the operating system is required. So it's not to be like the like embedded systems and all. And there are different computing environments. So all these things we'll try to discuss in this chapter very briefly. Then we'll get some feel like overview of what is the role of operating system and all in these contexts, various contexts and all. Yeah, right. So coming to the broader objectives of operating system here, what we'll discuss here is that we'll try to discuss about the major components of operating system that I had just mentioned very briefly here, like process management, memory management, storage, like IO management, and protection and security. So these are the broader components of operating system and all. We'll see that on what context which one is used and all. And then another thing is that the moment you say the operating system is, as I mentioned, that it used to be like it is on top of the computer hardware, like because basically that you want to use the computer more effectively by the users and all. Otherwise, as I mentioned, like suppose if you don't have operating system, it's very difficult to use the computer. It's very hard to use the computer without these intermediary operating system and all. So you cannot directly dealt with the CPU, then the memory and all those things and all. Writing the codes appropriate to them is very difficult. You can able to do it for a small applications like simple programs, whatever we used to do it in a laboratory and all. So those things you can able to do it by using some assembly language coding, programming and all. But in a normal the day-to-day applications, whatever we are right now using with the computers and all, it is very difficult to code directly on the hardware and all. So for that, you need to know about like what is the basic computing system, how the computer will be, what are the different entities in that, right? As I mentioned, no, like for example, you have a PC, simple PC, where it has certain components are there. And suppose, for example, if you deal with the web server, for example, it has a components, but the applicability of that or the objective of the web server will be very different from the PC and all. So likewise, for some other application, suppose for example, your mobile device, for example. So there also you have some computer is there. The computer it has some processor, some small amount of memory, all those things are there. So there also, if you want to use that, it has the operating system in the mobile device, it has a different objectives. It's not with the whatever the web server, it has objectives, certain objectives, because it has to, the purpose of web server is that it has to cater the services to the clients, different web clients, those whoever is sending a request and all, then it has to manage that. Whereas in your personal computer, it has its own objectives, right, to satisfy the only one user. And likewise in a mobile computer, in a mobile device, for example, whatever all of us we have, it has a computing capability, it has certain applications and all. And there, the role of operating system or the goal of that mobile device, it has a different from the normal PC and the web server. So that way, to know about the broader objectives of operating system and all, it should be known about the basic entities in a computing system, or you can say that the environment. So based on environment, the goals of operating system also varies and all. So this is the things that can be noted here. Yeah, then what is the operating system? As I already mentioned, the operating system is a kind of a program that acts as intermediary between the user of a computer and the computer hardware, as I have mentioned, right? Right. So because as a user, actually, you have a different views. You want to use the computer from different perspective. You want to, like, for example, you want to enter some data in your text file, right? And afterwards, you want to send the data. You want to send that file to somewhere else. or otherwise you want to do some computation, or otherwise you want to access some web page. So these are the, like that way the user applications or the user's view of accessing a computer will be different. And you have a basic hardware, the computer hardware will be there. And so the operating system is basically, it's a software, you can say the middleware, where it's in between the application programs and the basic, the actual computer hardware. And then coming to the goals of operating system here, it's a very grossly, very, can say naive way you can, it was mentioned here. Execute the user programs and make solving the user problems easier. Yeah, as I mentioned, no? Otherwise, if you don't have operating system, it's very hard to code, hard to get the like the your desired applications run by the hardware and all directly without that. So therefore, it tries to execute the user programs, right, and provide and make it for solving the user problems easier way, and make the computer system convenient to use. Yeah, this is the one, convenience for the user. So this is basically for the user perspective. So from user perspective, you had to use the computer in a very convenient way, where you don't feel, suppose for certain application, you should not wait. It means you should the moment with the mouse click, immediately you expect your response from the computer. So that way, it should be convenient to use. And then the finally thing is that use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. So it means that the computer, as I mentioned, that like components like a CPU, memory, and I/O devices, and so many things are there. So when by satisfying the user request, it's also the responsibility of our operating system that it should manage the hardware in an efficient manner and all. That means it has to like schedule the task to the CPU or to the memory or the devices such a way that the resources will be better utilized and all, right? So that's what I mean by the efficient usage of the computer hardware. So these are the broader goals of operating system, right? Yeah, right. Then coming to the, like as I mentioned, that this operating system is in between the computer hardware and the users. So therefore, first of all, let us know about how the computer system structure will be. And this is all of us familiar with that. We know from very basics and all. It's a hardware where the hardware contains these are the entities like CPU, the memory, and I/O devices. You have varieties of I/O peripherals are there, right? And this is the hardware part. Then to manage this hardware and to make it convenient for the user and all, you have an operating system which controls and coordinates the use of hardware among the various applications and users. Then the application programs. So the application programs and then users. So there are four components, or you can say that at four layers it was mentioned here. One is the hardware, that is the basic hardware of a computer, where mentioned here. Then an operating system, which controls and coordinates the hardware for various user applications. And there are some application programs. So here the application programs means when you look at the examples, then you will get some clarity on that, like word processors, compilers, web browsers, database systems, video games, spreadsheets, and so on. So these are known to be the application programs. So it means that these are the programs a bit of generic in nature. So the users will use the actual programs by using the programs and all. So that way, so these programs, a word processor, compilers, suppose compiler means so user has written some code, some application, whatever. And for executing that program, for running that program and all, you need to have compiler is required, because the user will write the program in a high level language. And the machine, to understand that at the first level, you have a compiler where it used to transform the high level language to the assembly code, and then followed by maybe sometimes the compiler itself, the built-in assembler also, it directly convert to the machine code. So that way the compilers, so these are come under the application program. Like with the web browser. So the user want to access some web page, you want to get some information from either the video or images or whatever. So in that case, this web browser application program will be used in a convenient way for the user to access the desired web pages. And likewise, the database systems, video games, word processors, spreadsheets, and so on. So all these are can be viewed as application programs just on top of the operating system and all. And then finally the users. And then on top of these application programs, you have and these application programs also known to be system programs and all. So these programs and also they are a bit of generic, and the programmers will use these programs, or the users will make use of these programs for carrying out the actual applications and all, the programs. And so therefore the users will be there on top of the application programs, like the basic users, or sometimes the machines also. Like you can have, for example, you have embedded systems, or you can have the systems in a networked architecture, for example. So in that case, so that way you can view the computing system as the 4-layered one. At the bottom you have a hardware, then the operating system, then you have a system programs or application programs, then the users will be there. Right? Is it clear? So yeah, this is the way, the same thing whatever I just mentioned here, it's given in the pictorial way. You can have, this is the basic hardware, the computer hardware, very difficult to handle by the users directly, right? And then the operating system there on top of this computer hardware, it basically manages the entire hardware and all. So whatever the user program requires and all, so it manages it appropriately, schedule it to the different entities, and provide the communication between the entities. All these things will be the responsibility of the operating system and all. And then there are some set of programs which are heavily used by the users. So these are known to be either system or application programs and all, like compiler, assembler, text editor, database system, like whichever the generic web browser, spreadsheets, and so on. So all these things are known to be like the application programs or the system programs and all. Then the users will be there at the higher level. So this is the way you can have can view the computing system as like at the hierarchical way. At a very bottom level, we have the basic hardware, the computer hardware, which actually performs all the tasks. And then the operating system, it's a middleware. And this is also a piece of software. And that used to act like the interface between the users and application programs to the actual computer hardware and all, right? So this is the broader structure, and all of you familiar in this aspect. Okay, then you have what the operating system will do. Yeah, this one already we mentioned, like depending upon the viewpoint, like as I mentioned, the operating system is in between the users and the computer or the basic hardware and all. So that way, from the way of perception, you can view the operating system, or you can say the functionality of operating system in a different point of view, different perspectives. So from for example, from a user point of view, the operating system will be used for ease of using the computer and all, or convenient way of using a computer and all. And whereas in case of computer hardware point of view, the operating system can be used for the better resource utilization and all. That means we have a computer, that means you have a CPU, you have a memory, you have different IO devices, and for connecting these IO devices, you have a bus, right? With which the data will be transmitted from various entities and all. So how to effectively use those resources, right? So that way, from that machine point of view, or from a basic hardware point of view, you can say that the job of operating system will do the resource utilization or resource allocation properly. Or from the user point of view, you can say that it will provide a convenience for the user to use the computer and all. So that way, for example, that depends upon the environments or the applications that they are meant for. For example, you have a mainframe or a mini computer and all. So here in this case, in the mainframe or mini computer, and here because it will be shared by the lots of users, but because the mainframe means it is purely a computer, and it will be shared by the lot of users. So here in this case, actually here the ultimate goal is that actually here it has to satisfy the users that are accessing the particular mainframe. right? What are the programs that are fed by the users and all? So all their programs has to be executed in a less amount of time. And for example, the same way, so for example, in case of workstations and other things and also, for example, in case of workstations means, so you are working on a workstation, for example, that means there are certain resources there in the existing system itself. And for some of them, you need to contact the outside the system, right? And for example, have servers, for example, like the same thing, a web server or a normal other, the database server and all. So where their job is to, like the operating system has to see that it has to satisfy like as many users as possible, or so that the resources will be properly utilized. And at the same time, from users point of view also, the users also has to satisfy. Suppose they send the request and all, so they expect that the response within certain amount of time. So that way, yeah, here basically here these things whatever here mentioned was handheld computers, for example. So here in this case, actually in case of handheld computer, we don't bother about actually how the resources are, whether they are properly utilized or not. Here in case of handheld computers, the ultimate application or ultimate objective is that, so one thing is that the power utilization, the battery has to be live for a long time. And second one is that it should be more interactive. It should be more interactive, like our mobile devices and other things. And for certain applications where the user interface itself will not be there, may not be that important. For example, the embedded devices, as I mentioned, no, like in case of home appliances where you don't hardly require any user interface and all, right? And that means whatever the parameters you feed, and then it ties to the system there, the operating system's role is that it should effectively utilize the resources and all. Not much of the user interface is not that much important. So that way you can see that based on the environment, the operating system's role also will vary and all. In case of personal computers, the operating systems has to deal with mainly it has to satisfy the user, whoever the user is using that, and that particular user, whatever he expects, that he has to be served by the operating system and all, right? So that way the role of objectives of operating system also will vary based on the environments. So yeah, so now from that viewpoint, you can say that the definition of operating system will be, sometimes you can say that the operating system as a resource allocator from the hardware viewpoint, and it's like a control program from the user viewpoint. For example, a user has given a program, a user has executing some program and all. So it has to control the program. It has to see that while executing the program, it has to prevent the errors, and it should not improperly use the computer. Improperly use the computer means whatever the user program is executing. So the program has to execute in the given memory space. It should not overlap with the other the programs, or it should not interfere. It should not do anything on the operating system programs and all. So that way, the OS can be viewed as a control program. It used to control the execution of the user programs in an efficient way. So these are the various perspectives we can view the operating system. Okay. So yeah, now I just yes, now 11 o'clock. So we'll take a break, a small break for 5 minutes, and after that we'll continue this introduction. So let's break and again join in this channel only. Let's just take a break for 5 minutes. Okay. And in the meantime, I will stop this recording, and again I will start in the afterwards. Otherwise, even this video also having like continuous 1.5 hours will be very difficult to load also. And just stop recording.